Morning, everybody. Afternoon. Okay, we welcome the use of the Welsh language at public meetings, and I have not received notice that members or invited attendees wish to use Welsh today, and therefore the meeting will be conducted in English only. And as a reminder, can you please silence your mobile phones? And remind you that the meeting is webcast, so please speak clearly into the microphones. And if you hear the fire alarm, then please follow the signs to exit the building. So welcome to all members and officers to the meeting, and thanks for attending. And I would like to remind all members to sign the attendance register. And are there any apologies?
Yes, Chair, we've had apologies from Councillor Ron Burnett.
And also may I add Pam Cameron, looking at the list there, Neil Mason and Wayne Tomlinson. Pam Cameron is still not well, Neil Mason has a hospital appointment, and Wayne Tomlinson is on leave, I understand.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any declarations of personal or prejudicial interest? And may I remind members to provide details on the sheet being circulated with the attendance sheet. Okay, we'll go straight to agenda item 3, which is the minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of April 2016. These minutes relate to the Joint Housing Solutions Service, and we'll now check for accuracy. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. Do I have a proposer?
I propose accuracy of those minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. And Chris, could you provide an update on the action sheet?
Yes, Chair. The customer satisfaction survey was sent out on the 26th of April. That was sent to the committee, and the recommendations of the last meeting were sent to the relevant executive member.
Okay, thanks for that.
Could I just add to that, Chair, that I think we've had the executive member's response as well, haven't we? Which was circulated, which I was happy with, so thanks.
Okay, agenda item 5.
Sorry, Chair. Before we discuss this item, Chair, what I'd ask you to do as Chair is to consider whether or not you feel able to chair this particular item, given your public announcements with regard to matters which do relate to the topic that we're discussing. I know from my experience in the planning committee that the chair there has to be very careful, and indeed all members have to be careful, not to have predetermined their views prior to dealing with particular items, and as a consequence they are careful not to say anything, particularly in public, which would indicate a certain amount of prejudice. And I wonder whether you feel that some of the announcements, or pronouncements I should say, on Facebook in particular, enable you to have that confidence, or to give members of the public and other members of the committee the confidence that they require that you can act and deal with this matter in an impartial and unprejudiced way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what we're dealing with here is hate crime. And if you want to elaborate on what how I'm linked to hate crime, I'd be more than happy to hear what you have to say. If you know what the actual the definition of hate crime is.
Well, I understand about hate crime, and I understand about the policy that we are reviewing as part of this particular report, and that deals with strategic equality issues generally. And of course that deals with racial, religious, sexual orientation, all those sorts of equality issues, which on some of which you are outspoken in relation to race and religion. And I do think you ought to consider whether it is appropriate for you to chair this particular item.
I think it's well documented, Brian, that there have been a number of reports and complaints against me. However, you will also be aware that I've never breached the Code of Conduct. I've never been guilty of breaching the Code of Conduct. So, you know, you're making a very subjective assessment, which is your personal opinion, which may not be the opinion of others. And as I've not breached the Code of Conduct, I'm more than happy to chair this meeting.
I understand. I thought you might say that. What I think I have to do then, reluctantly, is refer to a couple of pronouncements you made on Facebook on matters which are of significance to the topic we are discussing. For example, on around about the 12th of June, you commented about, above a picture of refugees, the words rape refugees, giving the impression to anybody who read it that actually you were correlating refugees with rapists. And I couldn't understand how that was appropriate at the time, and I still can't. And I don't want to discuss that in any detail unless you do, but it seems to me that is a condemnation of refugees without actually having any evidence to that effect. Well, and that's not the only one. The other one was in relation to the sad, tragic death of Joe Cox, where the comment you made was Britain first, or rather feet first, not Britain first, hey Cyril, which seemed to be commenting in a manner which was inappropriate on the murder of somebody on the grounds of apparently, allegedly, should we say, feeling that it was inappropriate for the way in which the Brexit campaign was being conducted.
Chair, can I just bring in legal there, please, for advice?
Chair, can I suggest that I think you've obviously answered the question about whether you consider it appropriate to chair. Can I suggest perhaps we concentrate now on the particular item on the agenda? I appreciate Councillor Morby's raised issues, but they're not relevant to what the committee has been asked to scrutinise. So can I suggest perhaps you proceed to item 5 on the agenda?
Yeah, I would have. This is obviously in the public domain. I would have liked to. And it's not appropriate for me to reply on record, although Brian Morby has used this forum as a political stance in support of the Labour Party, who, have been engaged with the Rotherham, where 1,400 children were sexually assaulted, and he's a member of that Labour Party. But I'd be interested to see what his points are on that. This is not the forum for that, and therefore I'd like to carry on with the meeting. Thank you for using this meeting as a political point scoring, but it has no relevance to the meeting. And perhaps, if you'd have been more professional, you could have actually wrote to me and put your sentiments in writing. But as far as this meeting is concerned, I'm more than happy to chair the meeting. It is on hate crime, and please would you judge me at the end of the meeting rather than before?
Well, I think I do need to respond to what the Deputy Monitoring Officer has indicated, that there's no relevance of this on this particular matter that we are discussing. I think that's a matter of opinion, and I make the point again that the public and the other members of the committee have a right to assume that the chair of this meeting will do so in an impartial and proper manner. And I've not got that confidence on the basis of pronouncements you've made, and which you haven't rejected or sort of said weren't from you. In other words, you've accepted that you said those things, and they are inappropriate, I think.
I gave a full account in the newspaper, and if you'd read it fully, you'd see that it absolutely meant no, it did not tar all refugees with rape, but the moment a refugee rapes somebody, I think they forego their status as a refugee. Anyway, If you're not happy to carry on with the meeting, then you're more than welcome to step down and we'll carry on the meeting.
Well, what I would also say, and ask the Deputy Monitoring Officer to indicate whether this is appropriate, the members of this committee have a right and an involvement in who actually chairs the meeting. I know that's a council decision, but at any particular time, it's still within, under the Constitution, the realm of this committee to make comments about the way in which the way in which the meeting is being chaired and by whom. And I feel, as I say, for this item, I wasn't saying in general, I was saying for this item, I don't think it is appropriate for someone with the views you have expressed publicly to chair what should otherwise be a good discussion on the issues concerned.
This will be a good discussion. This will be a very thoroughly researched discussion. And you will see that I will be professional throughout. There will be no bias, no impartiality, and we will be discussing a very serious matter. For you to make political light of this, and try to score points, I feel that this is very out of order.
You keep saying that it's a political intervention by me. I've not made it on political grounds. I've made it on the grounds that I don't believe you fulfil the test of being an impartial chair for this particular item. And that may not be agreed, but I was asking Delith a question in that latest.
Well, my comment is the Council has appointed Councillor Harris as the chair, so at the moment he is the chair of the committee. He has been asked to comment upon whether he considers it appropriate to chair this particular item. Councillor Harris has said he feels that in his view it is appropriate, so I think my view is that the committee has to proceed on that basis and consider the report. Can I suggest to the committee that it proceeds to discuss the actual agenda item 5? I think the points have, Councillor Hobby's points have been noted, and I'm sure that it's recorded for the purpose of webcasting in any event. But can I suggest that the meeting proceeds now and to discuss the particular item?
Can I just ask, because I asked a particular question about whether we have a right to make comments or decisions in relation to the chair of this meeting?
I think it's the council appoints the chair, and at the moment there isn't, as far as I'm aware, anything you can do to change that position. The Councillor Harris is the chair for this committee for this particular item.
So if I asked for other members to consider a vote of no confidence in Councillor Harris for this particular item, keep stressing that, would you rule that out of order?
I'm not aware that that is possible for this, because Councillor Harris has given his indication that his view that he can chair the committee. And that's the position.
Okay. Well, personally, I don't feel comfortable talking about these issues with a chair who has expressed the views that Councillor Harris has expressed, so I'm afraid you'll have to be without me.
Thank you very much. It looks like we've missed an opportunity to scrutinise a very serious topic. However, there is no quorum, and therefore we have to suspend the meeting to a later date. Thank you very much, officers, for attending, and may I pass on my apologies to the invitees from Gwent Police who've given up their time today to attend the meeting. I believe that this was premeditated, and they would have known what their intentions were before coming to this meeting, so I think it would have been more professional, perhaps, if the committee members had actually given a notice of their intentions. Very sad, but then again, this was a serious matter, and just thank you for your time.